Welcome to Gran Turismo Sport. And welcome back, viewers, to another video on Gran Turismo Sport. In this one, we are seriously picking apart the penalty system. There is so much that goes wrong in the last lap of this race. As you can tell, we are starting in 14th place, and by the time we pick up the action, we are sitting in 7th. So here it is. Here is the start of the madness coming into the final corner of the track. We receive a shunt in the back from the Corvette, and then he passes us after the corner. If we pause it there and we have a little discussion about, surely this is against the rules, pushing someone and then overtaking them. I don't really understand why that isn't a penalty. Maybe it's because I was on the brakes early. I don't know. This is the smallest infringement that we are going to cover today. But it's just a question to be asked. Why is that not a penalty? Hitting someone and then overtaking them. After that, we do get the traction and we do overtake back. So maybe that's why. But that's purely because we've got four-wheel drive, and we have the drive to get out of that corner better than them. So here, once again, is where problems really start. The Mazda not fast in a straight line, but now we have a Honda, a Corvette, and a McLaren attacking us onto a straight. And here's where we're going to pause it. Is there a space there, chat? Is there a space? Second point of the video, should the McLaren be going there? If you look at the angle of my car, I'm already pointing at the apex. So I have the line. He has not got his car beside me enough to go for this move. Regardless, he keeps pushing and he pushes through. He then goes and he makes contact with the Corvette, bringing in the same question of, if you hit someone and then go past them, should that count as a penalty? I think the Corvette then regains himself and pulls ahead. So I'm not perfect, and there is a couple of times on this last lap where I can hold my hands up and say that was not good driving, but I think the way that he drove has justified why I have driven the way I have. But obviously you guys can be the judge of that. I have my own opinions, obviously. But here you can see that I'm on the brakes, so I know that there's going to be an incident. I should have got on the brakes earlier. You know, I probably wanted to stick it to him and gave him a little bit more. But anyway, we both get away with it. He keeps it. He actually goes in here, gets a big slide on. I move out to the right just a little bit, just to make sure he doesn't hit me. So we jump on board with the McLaren, coming up to turn one, just to see his point of view, just to see if he could have done anything different. Once again, I mean, he's forcing his way in. I don't think he has a right to be there. He brakes late. He doesn't think about it. He makes contact with the Corvette, and that's pretty much that. Obviously, we don't know. This is just the replay, so we don't know if he's got any SR knock or anything, but no penalty for that kind of rash move. The madness continues down to the next corner as the Corvette serves his half-second penalty and then is hit into the back off of the track and doesn't receive a penalty. The Corvette actually receives a half-a-second penalty for that madness. If we pause it here, we can see that both me and the NSX next to me are both on our brakes. The McLaren is not. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Mazda has the best brakes out of the three cars here. The McLaren is trying to brake earlier and therefore will not make the corner, so has then punted the Corvette off and not got anything for it. Maybe he got an SR down, but we don't know because it's just replay. But he didn't get a 5-second penalty for hitting someone off the track. As we jump on board with the Corvette, coming out of the Ghost on the brakes, hit into the back, slide in. He couldn't really catch it before going off. Maybe that's why the driver doesn't get a 5-second penalty, because the game feels like he could have caught it. Maybe there's a bit of lag time between being hit when you come out of Ghost. I'm not sure. Skipping forward a car onto the Renault Megane, we can now see why the Corvette has done what he's done. Its final lap, he was hit once on T1. He was hit again on T4. He's received another half-a-second penalty for being hit off. He is enraged. Now, a quick shout out to Ace, who is the man who is about to be collected by the Portuguese driver here. He posted it on Twitter, I saw it, and luckily I saved the replay of this race to be able to make this video. But looking at the angle of the car, we can see that the Corvette is genuinely aiming for the Italian in the McLaren. But it's just unfortunate that he misses and collects the driver behind myself. And boy, was it close to getting me, as he finds him on the grass and he rage quits, obviously. Jumping on board with me now, looking back at it, we see him swiping across, sending poor Ace to the absolute shadow realm. Say hello to Super GT for me. And this is how close it really was going into photo mode. You see that there's a foot, maybe less, in between myself and the Corvette. And then looking back at the contact, the Corvette is firmly inside of the Honda. Some definite Peggy 18 action going on here. But we see the reasoning why he has done what he has done. So actually riding along with Ace now, he receives multiple taps actually. He receives one tap there from the Frenchman behind. He receives another one coming out there. And then he receives a third one there. And then gets collected. Obviously, Ace is just going to have to come home in 16th place here. But this is where the penalty system fails dramatically. Following in slow-mo on the Megane, we see that there's contact between the Megane and the Honda just before the Corvette comes in like a wrecking ball. Now, I've noticed this a couple of times, that when a car is out of control, it kind of makes them exempt from the penalty system. So the Corvette, who is flying across the grass, is deemed to be not in control of their car, so not at fault for anything that happens next. Therefore, the legitimate contact between the Megane and the Honda is seen to be the contact that has sent Ace off the track. And all we can do is ask the question of why this happened. Yes, we understand that penalty systems are possibly the hardest thing to get right in a game because of the different inputs and the way that people can cheat the system. We've seen it recently in other videos, so we do get it. But all we are asking for is some kind of consistency and maybe clarity into why people are getting penalties. In no way, shape or form am I defending the actions of the Portuguese driver, but we can see why he was so frustrated. He got rid of his half a second penalty. He was then hit into for the second time of the lap, receiving half a second penalty for something that he shouldn't have. And then obviously he tries to send the Italian to Narnia, but misses and collects someone else, which actually he doesn't get any penalty for whatsoever. And then we look at the fact that the French driver actually got the penalty for it, which I think is absolutely ludicrous. A little tap in the back, and then the way that the game works sees it as the French driver's fault. Those are a couple of things that we need to figure out and that we can chat about. And for the last time, we jump on board with myself. We look back, we see the madness happening behind. We see the Frenchman receive his 5-second penalty. But here is where we question the game again. There was no way I was letting this guy win. We see an aggressive move there, which shouldn't happen in the game. I should get a penalty for that move. We come into the last corner here. We receive a little bit of a tap there, which probably helps us in the end game. But let's finish on a nice happy note for the race. This was my best finish in any manufacturer's race ever, and I was not letting up to the Italian guy. A little bit cheeky coming into the final straight there. What do you think to that? I think the contact that I made on the tighter corner should be penalty worthy, and I should get a penalty for that. But the thing on the start finish straight was just a little bit naughty, I think. But once again, I should be getting a penalty for going into the side of him and passing him on that corner. But there we go, guys. An absolutely insane lap around Interlagos. Once again, I would love to know your thoughts on this, and if we could, can we share this around and try and get this to PD so they can see that there are some serious flaws in the penalty system. There's so much to go over on that lap. We could talk for hours about it. We literally talked for about 30 minutes about this lap in the live stream. But there we go. A perfect Gran Turismo sport story. We had the victim played by Ace. We had the perceived villain of the Portuguese player, the innocent French bystander who got wrapped up in someone else's madness, the man who was behind all of the madness itself in the form of the Italian in the McLaren. And we had one lucky boy in a Mazda who got away with murder. But I really hope you enjoyed the video and it can spark some debate about the penalty system once again. So thank you guys for watching, liking and subscribing. Another massive thank you to those who donate and who are channel members. You keep this channel going. You are insanely generous and it is always appreciated. I hope you have a fantastic day and we'll see you in the next one.